When fish collecting in Colombia, or anywhere, there are no guarantees of finding anything interesting, like yesterday, and then, just 24 hours later, a great day. After a fun but not very fishy day on the Rio Wapez and Cano Sangre, we decide to retrace our route to the southeast from the second day, but to extend the foray further out towards the Brazil border. The goal is to find a unique habitat known as sandy belt woodland, where ancient rivers left deep beds of white sand that forest has grown over, and the water running through it is very black and acidic. To make the most of the day, we blew past all the places we had stopped before, turning left at this fork in the road. Today, we're going right and further south and east. The habitat in this region is lowland moist forest, but not wet enough year-round for it to be considered rainforest. It has been raining, so everything is wet. The water is high, and there are plenty of flooded ditches to sample for killies.
No rivers so far.
They've got to be up underneath that stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You see them here too? The regular? No, I want to see. Look,
Yeah, it just came back up there.
Oh, I see it.
Like that.
Got it.
Got it?
You got it.
What is it?
This is a male.
It's probably a boy.
Oh, is it? Yeah, it's not very colorful, but it's.
It's like the other big one?
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Very different.
Fat one.
This is our friend. Big guy.
Sorry, Ted.
Sorry. That's what editing's for.
Oh,
Dios mío.
He jumped a lot. Yeah, my bad.
It's a lucky day.
Yep,
You jumped out of the net.
jumped right out.
It's only one anyways. We got a picture.
I told you.
You did?
I know.
He tried to warn us.
Try this place.
Luckily it's a big dopey one.
Right
It's
this
not
place.
as desirable.
But if you go up.
I think that's what Ken Norman didn't like, those big dopey
And turn around.
rivulets.
Yeah, there he is.
People who go to Central
Caught him
America.
You got him? Got him again.
Yep.
Yeah, because he used the same place to hide.
Watch the spider.
Yes.
You almost never
Oh, wow.
unless the fish farms the different systems to look at each other.
We thought it was odd that the local landowner had left one big tree standing in his cattle field, until a loud screeching alerted us to a pair of scarlet macaws that were nesting in it.
Yeah. No, I couldn't.
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. It's like a cactus almost. Yeah.
Vin and Ariel, our botanist buddies along on this trip, will tell you that this area of Colombia is a plant lover's dream.
% of these plants can't be ID'd without flowers. I'm taking as many pictures of flowers as possible. That yellow one is a Ludwigia.
Really?
Ludwigia erecta.
Huh. What's this one with the almost an iris-like flower? It's really small.
That's a Xyris, not iris. It's Xyris.
It has a
This
growth
is a
pattern
Ludwigia,
similar to it.
Ludwigia erecta. It can grow underwater.
Huh.
You can tell from these flowers. I destroyed it, but these flowers are typical Ludwigia types. The yellow flowers. Ludwigias typically have yellow flowers.
Cool. Is that a mallow? This purple flower?
That I don't have an ID on.
Grows like a mallow.
Yeah.
Blooms like a mallow.
Oh God, I have to make a shadow box for it. Thank you. This and the hot cover together? Yeah. Very cool. That is incredible.
Only took us about a half hour to get 4 fish.
That is so precious.
It's more like a shiny or sungray thing, yeah. It's nice, it's got a nice tick on the back. You know,
The sandy belt forest is unique for a couple reasons. The most prominent being that the mineral content of the land is almost entirely white sand laid down by an ancient riverbed. There is almost no mineral content to speak of at all, and about the only nutrients in the soil come from the decaying plants that die on top of it. Plant life is still abundant, but the trees do not grow as large as they do in better soil, and many of the plant species are miniature examples of common plant genera.
It's a different little peace lily down here. It's dwarf.
Gillies, apparently. Looks like a little killifish.
Now stand on here, the bottom part's over there. Bubbling up.
The other prominent feature is the flatness of the land. There is almost no contour to it at all, and the sand is very loose. I'm amazed that there is a road at all. This flatness creates broad, swampy areas, which these very shallow streams drain to and from. The water is stained very dark from decaying plant matter. There is almost no measurable conductivity, and the pH is 4 or less.
Here and over the copain and rivulus and killifish. I don't know. They're coming.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I see copeña.
Yes, but I saw one killifish.
In ecosystems that are as nutrient poor as this, finding fish can be a challenge. The place to look are the shady holes with a lot of leaf litter. The shade means it will be a little cooler, and the leaves mean food and shelter from birds. Speaking of birds, the main reason that I want to see the sandy belt forest is because a unique habitat means unique species, and birds are no exception. So while my friends thrash the pools for fish, I sneak off into a quieter place.
Oh, yellow, there's no red. Orange fin.
Does it have orange fins?
Yellow body.
Let me see. Erythrhinus is pretty
Yeah.
pretty much everywhere, but it's not as pretty as the ones down in Peru, if it's erythrhinus. So don't touch that caterpillar.
Oh, yeah, I know.
By midday, the temperature is very hot. The humidity is brutal, and there is no breeze to provide any relief. Everything slows to a crawl this time of day. The birds take a siesta, and it seems like the fish do too. We are still able to catch a few in each place we stop, but nobody seems very motivated to spend more than a few minutes under the scorching sun.
Did we catch females?
I thought I saw at least one.
Yeah, there's a couple. Oh yeah, there's some females in there.
So now it's supposed to.
Hernando suggests that we drive through the heat of the day and get to a destination he knows of that is close to the border with Brazil and will mark the furthest most point we can reach today. So we rev up the Enterprise and push on. Here we are passing through a village that seems deserted, but there is a large school building that seems to be in very good condition. Hernando tells us that the whole country is on break from school right now, kind of like summer vacation in the USA. The stream that we come to is the Caño Avillo, which passes under the road at a large village. This section of the stream is a cataract where the flow drops more than 100 feet in less than a mile, and is completely surrounded by mostly undisturbed forest. This stream is the same acidic black water that we have come to expect in the larger streams in the area, and just like all those other larger streams, the flow is high and fast. It looks pretty clear, but the water is very deep.
I see a lot of big tetras. I see some leporinas. And there's some pretty big fish down there deep.
Yeah. Anytime we stop at a village, it is always necessary to talk to the people living there. Not only is it the polite thing to do, after all, we are the strangers here, but we can get a lot of information, such as, are there any ornamental fish being caught here? Where is the best place to catch them? Or what is further down the road? It turns out that the Caño Avillo is a good place to catch plecos, when the water is a lot lower, and we are not prepared to deep skin dive in water this fast. The kids have the right idea. The most productive thing we can do in this stream is cool off. Because we did not spend a lot of time on the Caño Avillo, we decided to drive further down the road to stop at the first likely place for killifish. So far, all the killies found on this trip have been one of two types, but at some point a large stream or river will be a barrier and the killies on the other side will be something different.
They've been cleaning their manioc here. There's still a lot of fish moving around though, but you can smell it.
I smell it.
But man, look at all the fish. I haven't seen a pisto in there. See the tetras down there? I saw a pisto move off into the darkness.
Yeah, lots of them there.
People all around the world soaking manioc the same way. You would think that this would poison the fish because manioc produces cyanide out of its skin. Not only do they soak the manioc, they actually cut the manioc and leave the skins there in the water. But I still see fish everywhere. But those bags are full of manioc. There's a pistos all around this bags of manioc. Oh, there's baby apistos.
Baby apistos.
Oh yeah. Right over top of the sand.
Yeah.
They're not very big. Where's Mama? I can't think that's not Personata. It's got to be Personata.
From here,
Did you catch it?
we are more near to the Wapesi
Oh, so maybe Wapesi.
family.
Did you catch any?
Yeah, I got a whole bag full of fish here.
What is the small bag?
Let's take a look.
Here is a lot of fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the other side of the bridge, got a couple of bags of manioc being fermented and detoxed.
Personota.
Yeah, same.
That's pretty cool. Lots of Personota.
Female. Male.
There were a lot of the Pistogramma Personota, but no killies, until we were about a minute from calling it quits.
This is why Hernando doesn't collect chilies.
Is it dirtier? I mean, is it different than the one we just saw?
Yeah, it is.
There's another one. Oh, two. Tiny, tiny.
Oh, yeah, little guys.
There's one more in here, but maybe not.
Hmm?
Oh, it is the same kind.
The one of the other place?
No.
Oh. So nice.
Wow. That's kind of like a...
Wow.
Here's a lot. There. That must be a little tiny one.
Hold on.
That's an old one. Well, and just think we were going to leave in 30 seconds.
Just goes to show you that the smallest little thing of water can hold a killie.
Daniel, let's go.
And when you're driving some weird non-four-wheel drive Chinese little van in the sandy belt forest of Colombia, be careful where you park. The sand here is finer and softer than on a beach in Florida.
You ready?
No, I'd say we push you
Go
back.
forward. It's better back.
Yeah, I think it's better backwards too.
I don't.
Why not?
Got an open differential. You just gotta have one wheel spin the whole thing.
Come back.
Either way, you have one wheel spin.
Push back.
Oh shit, I wouldn't leave that there on the truck's back.
American power! Bye, fucking park!
This is a trust exercise.
He got us to the end of the road and abandoned us.
We do not see a lot of snakes on our trips to Colombia, but mostly because we do not search for them and try to stay out of the places where we are likely to step on a bushmaster or a fer-de-lance. This is a Spilotes species, non-venomous, a tropical rat snake, killed by the guys working on the road and left in the middle to surprise drivers passing by. What a waste.
Probably 7 feet long.
The last stop on the day on the way back to Mitu was the Caño Cabigu, which crosses under the road in the village of Murutinga, where that school is located. This bridge is located about 10 miles upstream from where the Caño meets the Rio Guapez, and this boulder pile is clearly visible on Google Maps. The day is growing short, so we decide to hang out here until dusk. All of my cameras were close to running out of battery power, and there were birds everywhere, so I decided to go birding while everyone else fished, and then get whatever they catch on camera, if they catch anything. These noisy birds are orange-cheeked parrots, a life species for me, and I wouldn't have seen them if we hadn't stopped. Right about now, my camera I promised at the beginning of this video that this was a good day, and it was. We found several fish species, including some target fish like the Apistogramma personata, and caught them in good numbers. Another target species, one that we specifically went into the sandy belt forest to find, was the black darter tetra, Basilocarex weitzmanni, and we found a lot of those too. None of the rivulus species we caught today turned out to be anything different than what we found all week along this road, but there is always a chance, so we will always dip a net. Catfish were certainly not very common today. These farlowello were netted out of the last stop. Plenty of the ever-present common wolffish, and also several small tetra types like this pretty Copella species. But the fish of the day was this little tetra, probably a Titocarax species and probably undescribed. We found it at the last location. This is a nice aquarium fish. Today is the last full day in Mitu, so tonight we have to prepare all the fish to ship back to Hernando's export facility in Bogota.
I think there's a baby Akara in here.
The next morning the fish get one last check, all the gear is packed up, and everything is sent ahead to fly to Bogota as cargo. Our flight does not leave until early afternoon, after another wonderful lunch. Today we get a special treat, bagre, tiger shovel-nosed catfish. We spend most of the morning wandering around Mitu. Today is a market day and there are a lot of people in town.
With the feathers,
Yeah.
you might be able to get back with something like this, but that's hiding it. Scarlet macaw feathers. Here you go, guys. Get this for your son.
And when you want to buy something, it's usually a good idea to let your interpreter negotiate for you. A few hours later, we take off for Bogota. Our week in Mitu is over. We have a day to visit Bogota, and then 3 members of our group are headed home. But Jeff, Hernando, and I will welcome some other friends on their first trip to Colombia. And then we will all spend a week exploring another region of this wonderful country, the Llanos. This Colombia 2018 series is only half finished.